Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast.
And welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Joe Capozzi, here with Chris Felice. Chris, how are you doing today?
You're good. You can barely pronounce my name, bro.
I said it very French, Felice, or Italian. We have
I'm
no
doing good.
Matt, no Matt and Richie today. They are in the midst of a trade argument.
Debacle. We're gonna leave that for another time. We'll
Oh,
have them explain that. It'll be a good conversation
yeah,
for when that's
juicy,
done.
juicy drama. Dynasty football, blood gets hot, man. It's
Um,
fantasy football is life. But we got another fun episode today. We're going to be talking about all the wide receivers and tight ends during free agency, which has been the craziest free agency that I've remembered in a long time. We've already touched base on the quarterbacks and the running backs, so we are now moving on to the wide receivers. So let me bring up my file here. We'll starting off with Mr. Calvin Ridley. He is no longer a Jag. He is now on the Titans. He signed a 4-year 92 million with 50 million guaranteed contract to the Titans. Chris, how does this make you feel if you're a Calvin Ridley owner?
honestly, I've some mixed emotions. I really don't know how I feel about Will Levis currently. He is in my opinion, the unproven talent elephant in the room. I think it's. I believe D Hop is also still there, correct? Yes,
I believe
he.
so.
Yeah, he hasn't actually left yet. So you're competing with DeAndre Hopkins, which I know there's like all I'm looking it up right now actually. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. I understand that there is a the conversation of, oh, he's washed up, blah blah blah. No, I mean it's still DeAndre. There's only so washed up you can get. He's still gonna get the targets and whatnot, right? Yeah, he's still on that team. Um, so it'll be tough, I feel, for Calvin Ridley. Well, am I gonna say that he's fantasy irrelevant? Not necessarily. It's really gonna depend on Will Levis. We've seen a lot in recent years that teams do really well with this two wide receiver system. Look at Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. This past year, even Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison really coming to life while everyone was healthy at the very least. But yeah, I truthfully like this could be great. This could be great because Calvin Ridley kind of a little streaky this past year, fell off a little bit, but this could be just what he needs as long as Will Levis is able to actually set up.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, Will Levis we've seen glimpses of greatness and we've also seen not great performances. We also have Mason Rudolph over there and then Malik Willis, who's had lackluster starts here thrown into the mix. As a Traylon Burks owner, this news makes me very sad. Depresso espresso over here.
It just keeps getting worse.
As a Calvin Ridley owner, I'd also be very sad. I mean, you go from Trevor Lawrence, who is arguably one of the top 5, maybe top 10 quarterbacks in the league, to Will Levis, who puts mayonnaise in his coffee. So, it's
You
not.
can't do him like that.
Don't get
You
me wrong.
can't
I
do it.
like Will Levis. I think he could be good in the league, but we haven't seen enough of him. And now, if he doesn't produce this year with Calvin Ridley, Hopkins, and Treylon Burks out there, it's time to move on. I mean, this is you're set up for success right now. You need to perform. You got Mr. Tajay Spears and what was the running back they signed over there on the
Pollard
Titans?
actually,
And
Pollard.
Pollard. Well, I
Yeah.
hate Pollard, but we won't get into that. So he needs to perform. And as a Ridley owner, I'd be kind. I don't know if I'd panic quite yet. I don't know if I'd probably hold Ridley. I mean, he's still pretty young in his career. He's
It's like 6
shown
years in.
how fast he is. I mean, the hype coming out of the training camp last year with him running the routes and stuff was insane. He was running like 2 times faster than everyone else. It translated into like the first couple games of the season, and then I don't know what happened, but it all of a sudden came the Christian Kirk show. Ridley kind of took a back seat, and fantasy owners weaved across the nation. So hopefully he finds better success. I think playing alongside D Hop is going to help him a lot. It's going to get one of them open. I think one of them will produce, and I will be crying in my corner with Traylon Burks uh, becoming fantasy irrelevant. But moving on to our next candidate in the free agency tracker, as I lost my list, we have Darnell Mooney, who signed a 3-year, $39 million contract with 26 million guaranteed to the Atlanta Falcons with Mr. Captain Kirk at the helm. How does this one make you feel? If you own Darnell Mooney and let's say you're sad enough to make Darnell Mooney one of your top 3 wide receivers in Dynasty. How does this make you
I I'm gonna be honest. I feel really bad. So let's break this down really fast, right? We know that the Falcons have had offensive struggles in the past. If Arthur Smith was there, maybe I feel pretty good about this. But now that he's gone, I don't know. This seems more like an offense that might actually utilize great talent. You got a lot going here. Currently, there's a lot of moving parts. Kirk Cousins, obviously new quarterback, completely new system. I imagine the whole system is also getting revamped, maybe tailored towards Kirk Cousins' way. Hopefully, we don't really know what's going on there. You got Kyle Pitts, who really hasn't done much. You have Drake London, who really
you just have to
hasn't.
keep believing, Chris.
No, honestly though, you have Drake London, who hasn't really done much. You have Bijan Robinson, right?
Believe.
Who's believe believe.
Oh.
You have Bijan Robinson, who has insane flashes. We know he's great. It's just that,
Unless
in
they
that
don't play him
offense,
because he's
yeah,
sick.
in that offense last year, yeah, he's the better decoy or something like
He
that.
was
Whatever.
sick. He can't play today.
Oh, that was fantastic. I wonder if they ever got fined for that.
Matt loved that. Matt was so happy.
Oh yes, I'm aware. I am aware. They have Tyler Algier behind Bijan Robinson, who's also not that bad. He's actually serviceable to a certain degree. Obviously, as a backup running back to Bijan Robinson. There's a lot of moving parts that adding Darnell Mooney to the mix. While yes, he does have this longevity contract, which I was actually kind of surprised about. I don't know if you're going to see the most use out of him. This seems more like a Tyler Boyd scenario where he might have your 1 to 3 weeks of maybe 20-ish points, right? I don't know if I'm on the train yet. What about you, Joe? What do you think?
I don't know if I'm on the train yet, but if I owned Darnell Mooney, I'd be ecstatic for this landing spot because if there's anyone that spreads the love of the football to his wide receivers and tight ends, it is Kirk Cousins. We saw that with Hawk, Addison, Justin Jefferson. Um, everyone was getting the ball. Everyone got some fantasy points. And Kirk slings it. So I'd be very happy if I had Darnell Mooney and he went here. I'd have high hopes. He's going to be the wide receiver 2 just behind Drake London, and he'll probably be, I assume, in front of Rondale Moore.
Hopefully.
I would assume so. Hope so. But yeah, no, I'd be happy with this landing spot if I owned him. Am I going out and buying him? No, not yet. I don't believe like you said that there's so many pieces there that until we see kind of what is popping up and where Kirk's is go to and what the system's like, I would not be unless you're getting him for like dirt cheap. I wouldn't be spending anything above a 4th, 5th round pick right now, which I don't
Yeah,
think would assume would be enough for him. But until we see what the offense will look like there, I'd hold steady on him if you owned him, and I wouldn't quite buy it if you don't own him. But I do like that spot for him, like you said. Kirk's a great quarterback, and we'll just have to wait and see. So moving on along, we kind of touched that Calvin Ridley left the Jags. So now the Jags have signed Gabe Davis to a 3-year, $39 million contract with $24 million guaranteed. How do I feel about this? I th- I feel like I'm a Gabe hater, and I don't want to be a Gabe hater. No, no, no. Hear me
Ooh.
out. I'm not a Gabe Davis hater, but he
Okay.
hasn't done enough to excite me. You, if that makes sense. Maybe it's just because he was foreshadowed by the amazing Bills run game and Stephon Diggs being there. Now is kind of his time to show up. You're playing with Trevor Lawrence, who I'm not this is gonna sound bad. I'm not trying to say Josh Allen is a bad quarterback, but he is a more athletic quarterback, I think, than Trevor Lawrence is, where he can run the ball. Whereas Trevor, don't get me wrong, Trevor can run it, but I think he's looking to throw way more than Josh Allen is. Um, so I'm just hoping that he becomes fantasy relevant. I believe Christian Kirk is still on the Jags. Am I
He is.
so? Is he going to take that one spot from him? I don't think so, but I think he should have that number 2 slot. I think he should see a good amount of passing volume, especially in a PPR or half-point PPR league. I think that's going to equal a lot of fantasy points. And I do think he's going to see some end zone targets when they get down there, almost like a Mike Evans is kind of where Baker or Tom Brady was looking for Mike Evans when they get down the red zone. I think that's going to be Gabe Davis. He's so tall. So I'm hopeful. I'd actually, so this is where I'm not a Gabe Davis hater.
Okay.
I'd be buying on Gabe Davis right now. I think you could probably get him for not an arm and a leg, but I think he has that chance of being that sleeper pick where he could be the wide receiver one there. He could pass Christian Kirk, and he could see those red zone targets. And in PPR half PPR league, that is money in the bank. Chris, how do you feel about Mr. Gabe?
So a little weird. First, I actually just went through a little bit. I just wanted to give some context really fast to this ordeal we got going on here. I actually went through all three top options for Trevor Lawrence this past year. So we had Calvin Ridley, we had Christian Kirk, and we had Zay Jones. And I actually found where they ended up in our league specifically on Sleeper. We had Calvin Ridley ended up in the 17th position overall on wide receivers. Christian Kirk was 47th, and then Zay Jones was 82nd. Right. This was because of a lot of things. Christian Kirk didn't play like the last 4 games or something like that, I believe. The point I'm gonna make here is that we noticed the Jaguars struggle later on into the season. There seemed to be, I would say, offensive mishaps. They didn't know how to effectively maybe use weapons they had. I'm not really too sure. That's probably why I don't run a football franchise, just in fantasy. But no, in all seriousness, right?
I mean, it's going pretty well. You won, so
That is true. I did.
maybe you should think about expanding your career.
But no. So my personal hesitation with Gabe Davis is not on him. I think he could actually fit well. And I agree with you. I think he could be the deep threat, the touchdown option, the guy there. I feel like he could fit all that. The issue I have is not so much with him, it's so much with, I don't even want to say Trevor Lawrence. It's actually just how the Jaguars operate as an offense. I feel like they don't leverage the options that they've had in the past, especially last year. I think like the year before, they did a lot better in terms of leveraging Zay Jones and Christian Kirk and Travis Etienne. And I can't remember the old Giants tight end who was on the Jaguars who had a stellar season. Why can't I think of his name?
Engram,
Engram. Thank you. Yep, Evan Engram. Appreciate it.
wish we still had him over retired. But that's another.
Well, but no, but he did, and also I feel like his almost target flow is reduced in a way. We know he has the potential. As long as they can fix those struggles, I am definitely feeling happy about the Gabe Davis pick. He's definitely going to be probably the complement number 2, and Zay Jones will probably fill that Tyler Boyd-esque scenario of the random guy who he'll score like the 20 points every now and then. Gabe Davis will probably be the more consistent sort of guy who will maybe score you like those 12 points. Hopefully. I'd be hesitant. I don't know if I would go on the buy train for super expensive. I would say probably around a third.
Let me tell you this. On Keep
Sure.
Trade Cut, they have Gabe Davis valued as equal to a 2024 2.12 pick, or Chase Brown, or Geno Smith.
I
Or
would definitely trade the 2.12.
Yeah, I think I would as well.
I don't know if I would trade Geno Smith in a super flex.
I wouldn't trade Geno Smith. I'd also trade. They also have him as you could probably get him for either a 2026 mid second, which you can't predict it, so I don't know why it says that, or a 2025 second. I would be fine with any second round for Gabe Davis. I would actually buy him for that. So I'm not a hater. I just haven't seen enough to believe in him.
Yeah.
Yet. But moving right along with the Jags, we have Devin Duvernay, who signed a 2-year, 8.5 million, 5.7 million guaranteed contract with the Jags. Does this excite me at all? No, not at all. I looked at an unofficial depth chart. He's not even in the top 3 wide receivers. They have him as wide receiver, what is it, 6? Which, sure. I mean,
came from the Ravens, I believe.
Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Zay Jones. That's your main 3 guys. Barring injury, this isn't fantasy relevant, but we're going to go over it anyway. If you have him, he might have a shot if someone gets hurt. God forbid.
If you
So
have him and someone asks for him, sell him.
sell,
100%.
sell 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sell it to some delusional person who
Yeah.
might think that he has a chance.
Yes, exactly. Moving on to more relevant news, Deontay Johnson traded from the Steelers to the Panthers for 2024 sixth. I have mixed feelings about this one. Chris, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, sure. I also have some mixed feelings. So there's a lot going on here that I hate and love. So I believe Adam Thielen's still on the team, which obviously makes things a little complicated for Deontay Johnson. But we also know that Adam Thielen had a decent year last year. So the whole thing he finished 25th overall among star receivers, had a fantastic early campaign. The first, I'm actually looking at it here, 8 weeks minus a horrible first week were fine, and then he dropped off completely pretty much. I can I be honest with you? This is what I'm
Give
gonna
it to
do.
me straight, Chris.
This I'm gonna do.
All
I
right.
like it. I like it.
Okay.
I'm a fan. So the reason why I'm a fan of it is I have faith that Bryce Young will get better. Will he be all that he was touted up to be? I don't think so. But will he be serviceable? Will he end up being someone who can put up decent results and from there also give his wide receivers a chance to actually do stuff? I think so. Yeah, I like to think that might be the case. They are currently building and they keep going on building. I think this is a fine trade. I mean, they gave him a sixth. That's I feel like great. We know Deontay can do well. We know he can do well.
Oh yeah. Except for score
So
touchdowns, apparently.
true. So honestly, I'm on the train for this. I like it. My hope is that he does well. My hope is that Bryce Young will get better, and that will also allow him to also produce really well. I see him filling that number one wide receiver role, and Adam Thielen taking a step back. In fact, if I look at this little depth chart here, he's already in the number one there. He's got him at number one with Adam Thielen and DJ Shark, with Jonathan Mingo also in the back there. You
I
could maybe
forgot
make
about Mingo.
you can maybe make an argument that the wide receiver room is pretty big. Mingo's like going into his second year. DJ Shark is there. Adam Thielen is there, but Adam Thielen's definitely on the way out. This is his, I believe, 12th season in the NFL now, coming up. Deontay Johnson is definitely on the younger side. I see this as an absolute win, personally.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree with you. Well, not that I definitely agree with you. It's a sore subject with Deontay. Matt High has him in our dynasty league, and we were talking about trading for him. And I was like, I'll give you what it was like. I was giving him a second round pick for him, and he kept going. He's like, okay, and then he's like, you know what? Now I want a first for him. I want a late first for him. I'm like, Matt, you're out of your mind. And I said no. And then he got hurt, and I was like, haha, Matt, karma on you. But I do like Deontay Johnson. I think he's a good player.
Damn.
I do think he's a good player minus injury. Is this an upgrade from the Steelers? Before I would say yes. Now I'd say probably not. I like the quarter. You can't beat a quarterback room with Russ Wilson and Justin Fields in it. That just sounds incredible to me. But now you're going to Bryce Young, who has shown glimpses of being good. I think it's unfair to say that he's not good with what he played with last year. I don't think his line was very good personally. And outside of Adam Thielen, not much going on in the wide receiver tournament. So getting Deontay Johnson there with Adam Thielen, it's his time to show. It's his time to show why he was drafted number one overall, and hopefully he can step up to the plate. But I don't think it's necessarily a down. I think it's an upgrade from the previous Steelers team. But for the current Steelers team, I'd rather him still be on the Steelers.
Yeah.
But still, not a bad spot. If I had him, I wouldn't panic sell. What does Keep Trade Cut have him as? Would I want to buy Deontay Johnson? I kind of do.
I
But
do
if it's
too.
they have him for pick 2.04 though. That's a little expensive for me.
In all honesty, I feel like if I am in a position to win at the very moment and I needed to increase that depth, maybe get that last flex spot, I would absolutely do that, because the odds of you using that 2.04 in your starting lineup from week one is probably very, very low. There are very few players that would do that.
four similar wide receivers that are in that same value bracket: Terry McLaurin, Christian Watson, Xavier Worthy, undrafted rookie right now. Out of those four wide receivers, Chris, which one would you be buying on?
Am I in the thought process of I'm trying to win?
Yeah.
Or yeah. One more. So
Well,
I
let's get
heard.
both. Let's get you're trying to win and for the future.
Okay, so you said Xavier Worthy. You said
Ex-
Deontay Johnson.
Xavier Worthy, Deontay Johnson, Christian Watson on Green Bay, and Terry McLaurin on the Washington Commanders.
I think I take Deontay Johnson if I'm trying to win right now, and if I am throwing, I probably take Xavier Worthy. That depends. I mean, I know it's like
Yeah,
the one option, the other option. Okay, fine. If we're not doing that, Christian Watson probably. Then I do like Christian Watson personally. I am actually a fan. Uh, of him. I think he will keep going up. But if I'm allowed to take the Xavier Worthy option, then I will. Obviously, that's going to depend on landing spot. If he ends up on the Giants for some unknown reason, I'm sorry. I don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. Um, I'm sorry. It just is what it is. But yeah, I feel like I'm trying to win now. I feel like I would just take Deontay Johnson. That might just be the safest route.
yeah, I'm 100% with you. And if you do have Terry McLaurin or Christian Watson, you could trade him for Deontay Johnson right now. So
There we
option.
go.
Moving on, we have Mr. T. Higgins. He was tagged 21 million, but requested a trade out of Cincy and has not found a landing spot as of today, which is 320. We'll have to see where he goes. I don't want to really speak on it because I'm a T. Higgins hater. So I will.
you are
I,
a T Higgins
he
hater.
gets hurt so much, man. I don't want to invest in a player that
I
misses
thought he was
games.
going to go to the Chiefs. I don't think he's going there anymore, which is
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
we'll talk about that a little further on too, with
Hmm.
the player that just went to the Chiefs. Moving on, we have Michael Pittman Jr., who extended his contract with the Colts for 3 years, 70 million and 46 million guaranteed. I love this. Michael Pittman has shown that he is the guy. He's easily in my top 10 wide receivers for fantasy football, and it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. He's getting the ball and he's getting fantasy points. We've seen it with Gardner Minshew, and we've seen it with Anthony Richardson, and we will see it again with whenever Anthony Richardson gets hurt again. Whoever steps up and plays quarterback. So I love Michael Pittman Jr. I wish I had Michael Pittman Jr. Matt High, if you're listening, please trade him to me. Chris, how do you feel about Michael Pittman Jr.?
Honestly, I'm in the same boat to a certain extent. I'm not like over the moon per se. Um, I think Anthony Richardson is fantastic. Anthony Richardson, I can speak, I promise. I think he's fantastic. I think he gets the ball down to Michael Pittman specifically. The only issue I have with the Michael Pittman situation is Josh Downs. That's about it. He did pretty well towards the later half of the season. However, once again, I bring this up time and time again, and I will continue to do so. A good team needs to be able to leverage two wide receivers now. That is the way. The best teams are doing it, and more teams have to. So if that's the mentality you're going with, maybe you're not over the moon, but I would buy Michael Pittman 100%. Like if I had the opportunity to, in a heartbeat, I would buy Michael Pittman. Am I going to sit here and say that he is of the caliber of some of the best? Probably not. But I will most definitely, like, if I can, buy him. And if I can't, cry about it later, maybe buy Josh Downs. Or both. Who knows?
Yeah, I could agree with that. I do like Josh Downs a lot. I tried to trade for him from Josh earlier and was shut down.
Ooh,
Uh, Moving
ooh.
on, we have Mr. Mike Evans, who signed an extension with the Bucks for 2 years, 41 million, 29 million guaranteed. Mike Evans was one of my hot takes last year, and he showed up and delivered and proved Matt High wrong. So thank you, Mike Evans. He's just shown then again that he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. He gets touchdowns, he gets catches, and he's amazing. Um, he's definitely getting up there in age. So unless you are in a win now scenario in Dynasty, if you are in a rebuild mode right now, he would be one of the pieces I'd be moving towards someone that is looking to win this next season or two. Because I think after these 2 years, I could see him retiring. So if you have Mike Evans and you're trying to win these next 2 years, hold on to him and win out. And if you're not, I'd maybe try to trade him, get some draft capital. Chris, How do you feel about Mr. Mike Evans staying with the Bucks 2 more years?
I agree with what you said. It is most definitely a. I like it a lot. I actually like him with a combination of Baker Mayfield. I actually would have been a little worried if there was a switch up, mostly because at his age, everything going on, if the system switched up on him, I don't know if he would have been able to be as proficient as he was in the past. But with Baker staying, the extension is there. I feel super confident in Mike Evans retaining this sort of role, even with Chris Godwin there, and even with whoever else joins him on the side. Doesn't matter. This guy keeps doing his thing. And once again, you're completely right. After those 2 years, honestly, if he said he retired, I'd believe it, to be quite honest with you. This guy has had an insane career. I don't know how many seasons in a row he's had this 1,000-yard streak going, but it's a lot. It is a lot. As Joe said, if you're looking to win now, I try to be buying into this guy. I don't know how much I'd be willing to give. He's a bit of an anomaly, to be quite honest with you. If you can try to swing him for a second-round draft pick, maybe a third up top with it or something like that, I would probably jump on it. I understand the caution in terms of giving up a first because he is so old, but if that's what you have to do to win the whole league, then that's what you gotta do. I don't make the rules here. So yeah, super high on Mike Evans. Get him, you get him. And if you don't, if you have him, you're trying to sell him, definitely upsell him for as much as humanly possible to the guy who's going to win it all. You can be like, oh, but if I give it to you, you're going to win. You'll have like the last pick in the first round anyway. So what are you going to get with some weird nonsense like that?
Yeah.
That's how you should be thinking about it.
Yeah, Keep Trade Cut has him valued as equal to either Isaiah Pacheco or a late 2025 first. I'd be happy with either of those if I'm rebuilding. Pacheco's young, and a first is a first and a future draft class.
I would do that. I actually
So
have Isaiah Pacheco.
yeah,
I think I might I would consider that honestly, depending on my running back room. To be
yeah,
quite honest,
exactly. So if you're not planning on winning, now is the time to trade Mike Evans. But if not, he's a great fantasy asset, and we wish you all the best in winning. Moving on to our next move, we have Mr. Tyler Lockett. He restructured his 2-year contract extension worth 30 million with the Seahawks. Lockett owners are happy. Jackson Smith and Jigba and DK owners maybe not as happy. There's just too much talent there at wide receiver, and there's too many mouths to feed that there's never going to be a consistent week where all 3 players are scoring fantasy points. So it's either going to be, I think 2 of them can put up some good numbers. Do I think 3 of them? Not so much. I've seen a lot of articles about how Jackson Smith and Jigba owners are very unhappy with this signing. For Tyler Lockett, if I own Tyler Lockett, I'd be very happy, especially with how he's up there. Almost like you said with Mike Evans, he's getting up there in age. He doesn't want to learn a new system. If he's in the same system, you feel very comfortable that he's going to be repeating what he's been doing, which has been serviceable football for many years. He's been a good wide receiver. Has he been the superstar, all-star like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? No, but he puts up pretty consistent, good fantasy numbers. Chris, how do you feel about Tyler Lockett 2-year contract extension with the Seahawks?
I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is actually kind of my feeling amongst DK, JSN, and also Lockett. I actually hate all 3 of them in a fantasy perspective, and it's because of the point you made before. Whereas there are certain teams that could leverage all 3, or perhaps 2 to a certain extent, the Seahawks just are too streaky, man. I don't like it. If I'm not getting a superstar, I want consistency, right? And DK finished 16th among my receivers in our league, which is awesome. Tyler Lockett finished 33rd, which is a really, really like widespread. I'm looking for more like close, like we're thinking like one maybe 16, or one maybe like 24. I'd be okay with that, but like 33, like that's too big, and that could easily flip flop. And I believe actually the year before it was. I think Tyler Lockett was finished ahead of DK. I'd be really, really hesitant. I don't like it if you're desperate. I guess you can. I would actually personally go for the DK route rather than Lockett just because of the age. Um, but yeah, I'm not super high on most of the wide receivers over at the Seahawks solely because I feel like the offense struggles with adaptability and trying to leverage all the weapons it has.
Yeah, I could, but Sam Howell's there now, so you never know.
You know what? I guess you're right. We'll just have to see.
But I completely agree with you. If I was a DK owner or a Jackson Smith and Jigba owner, I would be very happy if Tyler Lockett either moved on or retired. So he didn't. So panic.
You are a DK owner.
I am a DK owner.
You are.
I did put him up on the trade block to see what offers I got. I got 0. So I'm not panic selling. DK's great, and he's still decently young. So we'll see what happens. Moving on, we have Kendrick Bourne signed a 3-year contract extension with the Patriots for $19.5 million, 5.9 guaranteed. I I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I haven't seen too much about it. I am very excited for Kendrick Bourne because I strongly believe that the Patriots are going to be taking Jaden Daniels. Kendrick Bourne will immediately be Jaden Daniels' number 1 wide receiver option, barring out any more trades or any more free agent signings or draft capital. As of now on the depth chart, Kendrick Bourne is, in my opinion, the clear wide receiver 1, and Jaden Daniels can build a strong relationship with him, and that could equal a lot of fantasy value because I think Jaden Daniels is very good. Are they going to draft Jaden Daniels? Is this all going to happen? Just a guess, but I'd be very happy if I owned Kendrick Bourne. I'd be definitely holding him. Let's see what you can get for Kendrick Bourne according to Keep Trade Cut. For if you wanted to just trade for Kendrick Bourne, they have him valued at a 4.01 pick. I am paying this. It's out the door already. Take it. I don't care about it. I want Kendrick Bourne. That's an amazing deal. Will people do that? Keep Trade Cut says they will. I'd even pay a third for him. I'm excited for him to be playing with either Drake May or Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, because I don't see the Patriots not drafting a quarterback. If they don't draft a quarterback, I will be extremely surprised. So, Chris, how do you feel about Kendrick Bourne
I'd be
playing with
sad
the
if they.
Patriots?
I'd be
I'd,
sad if they didn't.
I'd be
draft a
sad too.
quarterback. Like I hate the
Although
Patriots,
although
but
there'd be a team worse than the Giants, so it'd be kind of nice.
there we go. There we go.
So
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum here. I dislike this for a lot of different reasons. I should say, like, obviously he's staying where he is, so it's like, he was already there. But there's like a lot going on. I'm actually looking at a depth chart right here. I actually have KJ Osborne as the wide receiver 1 of the Patriots, which is a name I never thought I would see at the wide receiver 1 position. I imagine this is all up in the air. But in terms of actually, we're going to back up from the wide receiver talent. We're going to actually go to receiving talent. I'm putting in quotes right now. On the Patriots, right? We're going to ignore the joke of Juju Smith-Schuster. And instead, we're going to touch on KJ Osborne. We know he can play Vikings every now and then. He was that guy that would average you like 20 points every now and then. Like he was there, like 1 time a week. Demario Douglas, young guy, I believe, second year. Hunter Henry, tight end. They utilized him a decent bit. Don't know how that's possible, but there he is. And then Kendrick Bourne, right? That's 4. You got 4, in some sense, receiving talent. Hypothetically, if this team trades for that quarterback, I imagine they're going to try and push the younger players forward more to set up for the future. I think, maybe, I don't know. That's my thought process at the very least. I'm not super high on Kendrick Bourne. Obviously, I don't think the addition to quarterbacks that also make him explode. Will he do better than? Give me a second. 69th in the league in wide receiver, maybe, but not enough to where you're going to put him in your lineup. I feel like I'll disagree with you here. I don't think this is enough to really like excite people. Maybe if all of a sudden people start getting injured, who knows? But I'm not going to bet on people getting injured. 1, because that's horrible. But 2, it's like, that's random. So yeah, I'm definitely on the downward train. If you have Kendrick Bourne and you want to trade him to a guy like Joe here for a third, I would do it 100%. I would do that. Take that risk on that 3rd round draft pick. Maybe you end up getting someone good. Who knows?
Okay. Agree to disagree. I actually just sent a trade to the person that had Kendrick Bourne. I
For a
sent
third?
him I sent him an early 4th for him. See if he takes it.
Who even has him? I don't
It's
even know.
Jeremy, so it's probably not going to happen because
It's not going to happen.
Jeremy doesn't trade with anyone. He's that one person in the league that if you look at the draft, the mock draft, there's trades all over because people are trading, and then you see Jeremy's team, and it's a straight line all the way down of all his picks because his picks are worth more than gold. Moving on, we have Tim Patrick, baby. Matt High's golden child, who he dropped and then didn't get off the free agency wire.
Might be the
Wire,
funniest thing of all time.
He signed a 1-year contract with the Broncos for $1.3 million. I don't know. It's just because it's almost like a meme at this point. Matt High was so high on Tim Patrick. You would think he was like Justin Jefferson's next upcoming. It was insane. He's like, dude, Tim Patrick. And what happens? Injured. Doesn't play football. So maybe we'll get to see if Matt High really knows what he's talking about. If Tim Patrick...
It's been 7 years. No, he's gone. He is gone. This is some random guy. He is so far down in this depth chart.
Oh,
no.
It's Tim Patrick.
Oh, wow, guys. It's Tim Patrick, guys.
Tim Patrick, guys.
Whoa. Clearly, he didn't care about him enough. He didn't put enough money on him in the free agency. So clearly, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
True.
So his point, his opinion, invalidated. Don't care.
Let's move on to more relevant things. Mike Williams, he was cut by the Chargers to save $20 million, and as of this episode, he now signs a 1-year, $15 million contract with the Jets, playing with Aaron Rodgers. Do I like this for Mike Williams? I do. I do like this. I'm hoping to see more than 3 snaps from Aaron Rodgers this year, so that'll be exciting to see. I think if Aaron Rodgers is out there, I think the Jets offense should look pretty good. I mean, you got Breece Hall, who I show a lot of favoritism towards as an owner and a big fan. He's my boy. He's an elite talent. He put up numbers last year without Aaron Rodgers, which is impressive enough as it is on the Jets offense, which is even more impressive. You got Garrett Wilson, I think clear wide receiver 1, and I think Mike Williams, right as he did before with Keenan Allen, slots right into that wide receiver 2 option, gives Aaron Rodgers another target to throw to, and also helps open up the field for Garrett Wilson. Like this for him. If I owned him, would I sell him? It's tempting. It's tempting for me because it is the Jets. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is there for many more years. I don't know, Chris. How do you feel? If you owned Mike Williams, are you holding him or are you shopping him around?
I actually did own Mike Williams.
You did, but that was when he was on the Chargers.
I got to be honest with you. I actually really like this for Mike Williams. I'm actually a big fan. I don't believe Aaron Rodgers is out the door. Necessarily speaking.
Well, if he wins his election, you don't know.
That is true. He might become vice president. Who knows? Guys, well, watch out for that one. We're going to be covering that free agency next. Free agency of the presidential election.
Jesus.
But no, yeah, I don't believe Aaron Rodgers is out the door. I believe that he still has something a little bit left in him. I believe at the very least. And I honestly, like, when I think of someone who can support 2 wide receivers, he's definitely up there, right? 100%. As we had said before, I used to have Mike Williams, and now I'm looking at it like, man, it's like I do kind of wish I had him on my team now. Still, like, do I regret the decision I made? Not at all, because it was really funny, and then I won. But I most definitely, if I have Mike Williams, right, at this point in time, and I'm not looking to win this year, I sell him 100%. Because you can definitely finagle more than he is actually worth at this very moment, and I think for very good reason. You don't actually know how good he's going to be, because if we're being honest, the Chargers offense every single year that he's been there for in recent times, since Justin Herbert has been on the team, it's been banged up year after year after year. This is the time where you can actually get to see if he is that guy. He's shown the flashes. The talent's there to be that number 2 guy. you can definitely finagle a decent amount. I would argue this is definitely like a second round pick, somewhere in the middle, at least a second round pick for Mike Williams. Maybe a little more. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely love him. And if I'm not looking to sell, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I need to push forward for the win, I'm holding this guy 100%.
Yeah. Mike, keep trade cuts. It has him listed as a free agent, so I don't know if it's updated, but they have him worth the 3.01 of 2024. I would pay that, especially if I'm in a win now mode. The only thing that scares me with Mike Williams is he is almost 30 years old, and this is a 1-year contract. If he doesn't do well or if he gets injured again, I could see him being done. But if he does well, I could see him getting an extension, another 2-3 years, and he could be right at home with the Jets. Kind of going back to the Chargers, what are they doing over there? Who knows? There's not many people left. Our next person, Hunter Renfrow, cut by the Raiders to save $8.2 million. Does not have a new team as of now that I've seen. Chris, you want to fact check me? But I don't think.
I just did. No, and I gotta
Yep.
be honest with you. What a waste.
Yeah.
What a waste. That he could have been something, man. And
Yeah,
the Raiders really did just push him into the dirt. Honestly, sucks.
agreed. Another cut or was Michael Thomas, shell of his former self. I know he's dealing with a lot of legal troubles right now, so no new team as of now. I think the last thing I saw was that charges were not yet dismissed yet, so we got to wait and see what's going on with him. Is he relevant still? He's 31 years old. He hasn't stayed healthy for a full season in a long, long time. I think he's kind of done. If you could sell him for any scrap of pick,
Fifth
go
round.
for it. Anything,
Yeah.
anything. And then our latest sign, we have Hollywood Brown. He signed with the Chiefs for $7 million for a 1-year contract. I love this for Hollywood Brown because I'd love for any of my wide receivers to play with Patrick Mahomes because he's the current GOAT of the NFL. He's incredible. He throws the ball in all sorts of ways to all different people, and most of them catch it unless their name is Kadarius Toney. So I'd be very, very excited. He even made Kadarius Toney almost look good if he wasn't complete garbage. Sorry, I hate Kadarius Toney, but I'm not really sorry. That is just how I feel. Chris, how do you feel about Hollywood Brown now being a Kansas City Super Bowl chief, back-to-back Super Bowl
Yeah.
Chiefs?
As a Hollywood Brown owner, I am ecstatic. I love this. Love this. Your only competition in honesty is Rashee Rice in terms of that wide receiver position. You could maybe argue Justin Watson. Maybe. But
I'd say Travis Kelce. I know he's not a wide receiver, but like,
true. I was talking on the wide receiver depth
yeah,
chart.
yeah.
I mean,
I,
you're
I
always
got what you're
competing.
saying.
You're always
Yeah.
competing with Travis Kelce.
But Travis Kelce, I feel like takes more targets than other tight ends in
Yes,
in the
100%.
league.
Yeah, 100%. You're that's definitely gonna suck, but he will definitely So he finished 52nd overall. His first 5 weeks, barring the first week of his career, so weeks 2 through 5 were great, were awesome. Then he kind of had a downward shift a little bit, which was very unfortunate. But I have a feeling that he'll probably end up being, in my opinion, I'm gonna go with like top 20, maybe top 25 wide receivers. That's the hot take for the day. That doesn't sound impressive, but for a guy like him and a guy on your team, that means consistent numbers every week. That's what you want.
Yeah, I'm full on with you. Super excited if I owned Hollywood Brown. I think it's definitely a step up from where he was. Don't get me wrong, I love Kyler Murray, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Who doesn't want to be on the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes? Moving on, we have just a few tight ends that we'll kind of go through quick because none of them, maybe like one or two, are super exciting. We have Colby. What's up? Do you
No,
want to say something? We have
no, I
Colby.
said I agree.
Yeah, we
Sorry,
have
did I cut out there?
No, you're good. We have Colby Parkinson, 3 years, 22.5 million, 15.5 million guaranteed to the Rams. Sure. Is he going to do much behind Cooper Kupp and
Puka
Puka?
Nacua!
Probably not, but he's there.
I don't even know if he's the number one tight end on that team currently.
I also don't know that.
Hold on.
My guess, no.
I actually picked him up, funny enough, so that means he probably is. Yeah, he is actually.
He
Oh,
is?
Tyler
Okay.
Higbee's there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So, good player, bad situation. Will he do anything? We'll see. Noah Fant, 2-year contract, 21 million extension with the Seahawks. Like Chris said, with his argument about all the wide receivers there, it's the same. Goes with the tight end. Too many mouths to feed. Too little quarterbacks. Gino's. I think Gino's serviceable, but he can't service 4 hungry players.
No.
So kind of avoiding that situation. Will Disley signed a 3-year, $14 million contract, 10 million guaranteed to the Chargers. I'll be honest, with how the
Looks
Chargers
fantastic.
are looking right now, I'd be ecstatic. Who's their number one wide receiver right now? Quentin Johnson, followed by Josh Palmer. I'm a big Josh Palmer fan. Am I a big Quentin Johnson fan? Absolutely not. I've seen him drop too many balls this past year to be a fan. Easy catches that he should have made, almost like a Kadarius Toney-esque drops. But yeah, if I owned Will Disley, I'd be very happy with this move.
No, I agree completely.
yeah.
I think this is like he might. I gotta be honest with you. This might become the number one option if they don't do anything
be.
else or draft anything
Oh
else.
yeah,
Which is
I don't see them.
terrifying.
I don't see them not taking a player in the draft, but you never know. I'm not the head coach.
That is true. You're not.
I'm not. Shocker. Gerald Everett signed a 2-year, $12 million contract, 6.1 million guaranteed to the Bears. How do we feel about this one, Chris?
Honestly, so besides the Will Disley one, Disley, sorry, my bad.
Mhm.
I like this.
Yeah.
A lot. This is I remember seeing it the other day. Like this is like obviously we now know that Justin Fields is gone. We know the type of offense that is currently being structured around the Bears. I think there's a lot of over exaggeration in terms of this is the best offensive room that any rookie quarterback has ever gone into. No, it's not. I actually at work I actually looked up some of the other rooms that some of the other quarterbacks went into. It's up there, I would argue, maybe top 5, top 7 at worst, but definitely not the best. But it's still very good compared to what
Yeah.
Justin Fields had before. It's fantastic. And Gerald Everett is a true veteran. He does his thing. Will he put up those numbers? It's really hard to tell. So I like it. I'm holding him. I'm not selling him, but I'm also, in that sense,
Yeah.
if I have other options at tight end or I want to trade for something else for that reliability, I am going to, because you really don't know how the Bears are going to look with Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
we are assuming it's Caleb.
And Cole Kmet is still there, I believe. So
that is true. That is true.
I don't even think he's the tight end one. So, but it is exciting to be playing with the number 1 draft pick as of Caleb Williams, unless something crazy happens. Moving on, we have Jonnu Smith. He signed a 2-year, $8.4 million contract, 14 million guaranteed to the Dolphins. Is this any fantasy relevance to you, Chris? Jonnu Smith to the Dolphins.
Honestly,
he is the tight end one.
Yeah, kind of. A little bit. He finished the tight end 17. Which is fine. I think any tight end that finishes above 25 is like someone that you should at least keep an eye on. I'm a generally big fan of actually rotating tight ends based on matchups and whatnot. If I don't have like one of the top 2 or something like that, So there's something like that you're looking at there. But personally, right, I'm not sitting here. I'm not going out to buy this guy. In my personal opinion, I guess if you're desperate, you can. I guess, but I'm not looking to buy. If I have him, I'm holding him. Nothing too crazy. I don't think I can sell him for an insane amount.
Yeah, I agree. With the rate that Waddle gets injured, it puts I think Jonnu Smith in an easy receiving slot 2 behind Mr. Tyreek. So I'd hold him for sure. I wouldn't be buying as well. Moving on, we have Irv Smith signed a 1-year, 1.3 million, 0.4 million guaranteed to the Chiefs. Any fantasy relevance of this? Probably not. No. Travis Kelce's still there.
No.
Barring injury, Irv Smith is kind of just maybe the blocking tight end on run plays, or when Travis Kelce needs to go get a drink.
Not even not even Travis Kelce, right? So you got him, right? They like Noah Gray.
Yeah,
to a certain extent. So he's now third on that tier list. There's
Yeah.
like nothing here.
not great. And then the last one, which I actually think has some fantasy relevance, we have Mike Gesicki signed a 1-year, $2.5 million contract, $0.4 million guaranteed to the Bengals. I'm looking at the depth chart here. I think he's easily the tight end one. They got Tanner Hudson and Drew Sample. I like Drew Sample, but I do definitely think that Mike Gesicki takes that tight end spot one. And I think this actually becomes fantasy relevant because we know T. Higgins requested a trade. So that leaves Jamar Chase and who else? No one really
Yep.
of note. But Andre Iosif, Charlie Jones, and Trenton Irwin. Sure. If you are playing any of those in fantasy, I feel sorry for you.
Agreed.
And I would gladly slot Mike Gesicki in as my tight end. I think he's gonna have a good year. I'd actually
100%.
be very much buying Mike Gesicki if you need a tight end at an affordable price because I
Yeah.
think he could be very serviceable. And I have this is gonna be a hot take. I have him finishing in the top 10 tight ends.
Ooh, no, I
So
don't think it's too far fetched to be quite honest with you. I'm a little worried for the Bengals' future in terms of offense potency because of this T. Higgins. Like, I don't know what they're thinking right now, but I feel like they've missed out a bit on some of the big wide receivers that we just listed through, obviously. And this guy obviously wants to leave, which always leads to some sort of chemistry issue within the team, whether he doesn't want to try as hard or something like that. Obviously, he wants to do his best as humanly possible, so that way he can get his stock up as as much as he can. But at the same time, the team might think that another way, that they might start hindering on his targets and whatnot. We've seen it in the past, unfortunately. Is it the worst? Yes. But unfortunately, we've seen teams do that, and you can't really ignore it. So having Mike Gesicki is probably a good insurance policy.
yeah, I 100% agree. I think out of all the tight ends on this list, he might be the most exciting to me out of everyone that
Agreed.
made free agency or trade. But nothing too crazy in tight ends. The big ones are still where they are: Sam Laporta, Travis Kelsey, the big two, Hawkman, all staying on their teams. So that's going to do it for us for today's show. Make sure you guys follow us on X at the Heroes FF.
Wait, other way.
We're posting
There we go.
updates on new shows coming up.
You can't see
Ask
it. Whatever.
it's down there. Ask us any questions. If you have any trade questions or if you want advice on what you should do with your dynasty team, please ask. We'll answer it in either on X or we'll answer it in the show. And thank you again for listening. We have some exciting stuff coming up planned. I know we're going to be talking about some rookie wide receivers, I think, in our next show.
I believe so.
And
Yeah.
I think we're trying to put together a live show for the draft. So stay tuned for that and dates and what platform it will be on because I need to talk to Matt High. But as always, thanks again for listening. This is Joe Capozzi and Chris Felice signing off. Just catch you guys on the next one.
See you around.
Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football podcast. Follow us on Twitter at the Heroes FF.